Well, thanks for listening. We won't do the send off like we usually do, just because we're going to keep going right now. But take a listen to the part 2 for our 5 through 1 movies on our list of the top 10 films of 2017. All right. Welcome to the Brave Little Podcast, part 2, our top 5 films of 2017. Let's go right into it. Number 5 for Aaron.
Number 5. I have the movie Lady Bird. This is a movie that...
Lady Bird.
Yeah, Lady Bird is number 5 for me. This is a movie that I didn't know what to expect. I know you were talking about it a lot leading up to it because it said Sacramento. And going into this movie, I had no real expectations, really. It's just kind of open-minded. And upon seeing it, I loved it. I thought it was a great little movie and fits in the theme of the small little independent films that kind of blow your expectations out of the water. So yeah, give me Lady Bird number 5. Great performances, great direction, great writing. And I think it is easily one of the top 5 films of 2017.
Terrific. Terrific pick. Big fan of that pick. You did good. Skylar, you need to see Lady Bird.
I refuse. I'm in protest for the rest of this episode. And until we get a true Donal winner,
justice for
I won't be
Boyega.
seeing Lady Bird.
It's because you won't see films directed by women. That's why.
Ooh.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I know your
right.
game.
Even though I've already... No.
Skylar,
my
what's
number
the
5.
5th best movie you saw this year?
My 5th best movie this year was Brigsby Bear.
Yeah! I love that overlap.
Very nice.
I loved Brigsby Bear
Oh,
for a lot of the same reasons you mentioned. It's a movie about creativity. It's a movie about, letting yourself go out there and make a movie. And it's funny because we talked about Disaster Artist. I think Brigsby Bear is like Disaster Artist, only way more genuine and filled with love and a more compelling movie, I think. It's also cool that it was filmed in the same place we went to school.
It is.
Utah there.
And they use Utah well.
Yeah. And I'm a Kyle Mooney guy. I've been following his career pre-SNL.
You're a Beck Bennett guy, you say.
Dude, don't hate on Beck. Okay.
You like Beck more than Kyle. You told me that.
Yeah. Maybe.
I take
Today, he's a Mooney guy.
Today's the Mooney guy.
Yeah.
But for today, I'm a Mooney guy. Because now Kyle has made a much better movie than Beck has.
You'd love the Florida Project. Mooney's in that as well.
The more talented Mooney.
The more talented Mooney.
Can't wait. Yeah, so Brigsby Bear. Just thought it was a great movie. Really a lot of fun.
Is it Greg Kinnear's best performance in years?
Ooh.
Easily since Talladega
Since
Nights.
Mystery Men, where he was Captain Amazing? Or that movie he was in about the guy who invented the windshield wiper?
As good as it gets
Dude,
is
just
what
give me
I'm
Talladega
thinking.
Nights. If you ain't first, you're last.
Oh, yeah. I'm so happy that you got Brigsby in your top 5. Great pick.
That's if I had to choose one movie that I thought that Skylar would love, it's Brigsby Bear. So I'm glad to hear that it's in his top 5.
Yeah, that's
Loved
yeah.
it. Great movie.
I expected it somewhere, but once we got on the top 5, I thought maybe I was wrong. But
I'm surprised it's not higher, to be quite honest.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, it's so Skylar, it's fascinating you bring up the how it's like the Disaster Artist, because that's one of my themes here is like talking about like creativity and expression, because the Disaster Artist is my number 5. So I had Brigsby Bear at 6, Disaster Artist is number 5, and there really is a very common theme. There is a thread through these two films, and that is about people who, against all odds, are making a film because they want to, because they have something to say, because they have creative, they want to express themselves, regardless of how quote unquote good the output is, like the end product, right? Like it's not a film. These aren't people who are making films for, to make money, for profit, or or whatever. These are people who had something to say and wanted to make a film. In the case of Brigsby Bear, there's a much different backstory about the reasons why, but he couldn't move on or progress until he did it. And I loved that journey. Now, in The Disaster Artist, you have Tommy Wiseau, who has no business being in Hollywood, is absolutely the antithesis of any person that would ever make it in Hollywood. He has a weird accent. He's not good at acting. He's not really all that quote unquote creative of a person in Hollywood's eyes. He's a very weird person who is very secretive about where he's from, to how he has so much money. But yet, even though Hollywood rejected him over and over and over, he said, "Screw it, I'm going to make my own movie anyway." And he spent $6 million doing it, and that's a movie that just got a wide release this week through Fathom Events. The Room actually got a wide release. Seeing James Franco tell that story to me, which is a film, we were going to get this movie eventually, the making of The Room, or I should say the Disaster Artist adaptation from Greg Sestero's book. Eventually this film was going to get made. And I'm just so grateful it was James Franco, because I feel like he is just the right person that is weird and eccentric, that could actually channel Tommy Wiseau and do it right without making fun of who he is. This is a film that was so funny to me. I've seen it twice. It was hilarious. It was heartwarming. And I was so freaking inspired after watching it. Even though it's the end product, The Room is a terrible film. I just love the idea that filmmaking and the creative process, should never be inhibited by a system. Freedom of expression should be available. And I just love to see artists do that against all odds. So The Disaster Artist, number 5. What a great movie. So
It is a great movie. And if we can know, you mentioned Disaster Artist and Brigsby Bear sharing a common thread. And thinking back to what Skylar was saying about Brigsby, it made me see a common thread between Brigsby and the movie Detroit, because it has the cops as oppressors in both movies. So, I mean, it's a little different tone.
like
to both.
Hollywood oppression. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, if you remember in Brigsby Bear, the cops shut down the production because they wanted the all the props. Remember?
Oh, the explosion.
Yeah. So they shut down.
Gotcha.
So they were oppressors to the Brigsby Bear
Oh, I
cast
see.
and crew. And in Detroit, it's all about cops oppressing other people for other different reasons. But I saw the common thread there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No. That's very, very clear.
And yet you voted for Carl Landry Jones.
I'm regretting
What
that
would-
vote right now.
The face of
It's
him and
actually
Will Poulter.
Carl
The face of
Anthony
oppression.
Towns is who I voted for. So,
Oh, that makes more sense.
yeah.
Aaron, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is the best war movie of the year.
Wait.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Yeah. War for the Planet of the Apes was number 2, but Dunkirk is the best war movie of the year. So, Dunkirk is a movie, a non-traditional war film that is doesn't follow the typical narrative where we're getting to know either a group of soldiers or an individual soldier. We get multiple different angles and different takes, kind of like a Rashomon version of the exit of it's not the exit of Dunkirk, it's the evacuation of Dunkirk.
Evacuation.
Yes, there you go.
Right.
So that's the movie. I mean, it's probably like, I watched it again and it's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful war movies I've ever seen, which is a weird thing to say, but it packs such an emotional punch that I couldn't help but love it. So Dunkirk for me is number 4. I think it's probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Now that I think about it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
It's just that powerful.
Wow.
I think he did an amazing job. It's probably my favorite thing that he's done. So.
Well, look, yeah, I'm a fan of Dunkirk. When it first came out, I mean, it's in the first half of the year, I believe, or by spring. I'm trying to remember when it came out. It might have kicked off the summer movie.
It was May. It was a
season.
May release. Yeah.
May. Okay.
No,
I mean, it was
June.
my favorite film of the year, so far when I first saw it. Also, I think it is technically the greatest film of the year, and I don't think it's close. It is so gorgeous and just impeccably directed. The cinematography is woo. Is that Hoyt that did that one?
Yes, it sure
Man.
is. How about the sound design? The sound. I mean, it's
Oh.
incredible to even mention. But the sound design
it's an experience, man. It's
Yes.
an experiential filmmaking.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it blows you away. There's so many elements of the movie that's just perfectly directed, and I think that's why it's my favorite Nolan. Like, he's on full technical display in this.
Yeah, he is.
Like he isn't in any other movies. He's a great director, obviously, but his performance in this movie is just to another level. So I think it's a masterpiece. Yeah, Dunkirk,
Yeah,
number 4.
Honestly, Christopher
Also-
Nolan should win Best Director Oscar, but I don't know that he'll even get
Probably
nominated.
won't.
So
Yeah.
Nope, won't get nominated. Oscars hate him. That was a July 21st release.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
July. Oh, okay.
So middle of the summer.
So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is a movie that you both hated, but
Wow,
I
Star
loved.
Wars.
You've said that like 3 times.
I've been right every time too, because I haven't seen you guys put up Lego Batman or
I
Split
love your
yet.
list. I love your list.
Number 4 is The Big Sick.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
This is a shocker.
you think
I
I hated that
rewatched
movie?
this. I haven't seen it in your top 10. It's not gonna be in your
Oh,
top 5.
well, am I finished listing my top 10?
What's that?
Have I even finished my top 10? You have
It's
no
not gonna be in your
idea.
top 4. It's gonna be
Okay. It's
Lady
not. It's
Bird
not.
4
I
times.
loved The Big Sick. I'm a huge Ray Romano fan.
Yeah, it's Ray Romano's best screen time since Everybody Loves Raymond. Um, no, I honestly love this movie. I've watched it in the last month or so, and it really held up for me from what I remember it being. And it's a great film experience. This movie could be anywhere from like 4 to 8. That part of my list is very tight, and
Yeah.
so it's
No, this is a great film. I mean,
it's a great movie. I love it.
you know,
It's
it
really
totally
well
is. I
done.
think I liked it more than Aaron. But it just narrowly was off my list. I know we're going to talk about our 11 through 20 films. It is in that part of the list for me. So I do have it ranked. But Kumail is excellent in this film. Do you consider it a rom-com?
I would call it a. No, I think it's too dark to be a rom com.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
I think
There's not really dating. It's more of him meeting the parents, like
Yeah.
him and the two parents is more of it, which
He's
isn't really
dating the
a rom com.
parents.
Yeah.
He's dating Ray Romano, which is
Yes.
fantastic. No, I mean
Yes.
like we joke, but Ray Romano is phenomenal in this movie.
Oh,
Like
he's terrific.
he's really, really, really good.
No, he's terrific. Yeah.
And
I would
Kumail
love to see him
is
get
fine.
nominated. Kumail was perfectly serviceable. I mean, it's
Holly
his story to
Hunter
tell.
was phenomenal. Zoe Kazan was way cuter than Emily V. Gordon. Sorry, Emily V. Gordon. But she's doing fine. But I mean, like, I think this is definitely one of the 5 best original screenplays this year. I don't know if it'll get nominated, but there's so few original screenplays these days. Like, everything's taken from something else. But this was a fresh, original story, and I'm glad it got told, and I'm glad it did so well. It's cool.
I
Watch
wish
it on Amazon Prime.
I do wish some of Judd's. I mean, obviously Judd Apatow had good influence on it in some ways, but the bad Judd influence, the bloat particularly, could have been a little bit tighter. But I wouldn't actually disagree with you in terms of the top 5 screenplays. I think I'd have Big Sick in my top 5 screenplays of the year as well.
Yeah, it's only. I mean, it was right at 2 hours, so I mean, it's long if it's a comedy, but it's not really a comedy. It's more of a straight film with some comedy elements.
Yeah, so Lindsay actually watched this movie on that same flight to China that I referenced that I watched Baby Driver on. I told her to watch The Big Sick. I told her I thought she'd like it, and I miscategorized it by calling it a rom-com, because some people had been framing it that way, and I guess I wasn't really thinking. But afterwards, she enjoyed it, but she said she looked at me. She's like, "You told me that was a rom-com. That's not a rom-com. There's hardly any romance between the main characters. It's a movie about him trying to win over her parents in that relationship." And I'm like, yeah,
I mean, it's a story about family. It's a story about love. It's a story about like losing your culture. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
it's definitely applicable for me in ways that I think it's not applicable to.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
I mean, it hit me right in the chest. So I love this movie.
Would have loved more
Thank
of
you,
his
Kumail.
brother.
Yeah, but his brother's great. Who
He is
doesn't love his brother? Although Bo Burnham, if they can go back and CGI this and
Yeah.
get Christopher
Well,
Plummer to play Bo Burnham's character, that'd be
It's
great.
not even
'cause
because he's a terrible comic. It's because we all know that he's a scandal waiting to happen. So
I just hate he's like the Logan Paul that everybody's accepted is okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
the
yeah,
third Paul
exactly.
brother.
Everyone's just okay. Like, okay, we'll allow it. We'll allow him, to do this. He is not a funny
Well,
comedian.
okay, so my biggest qualm about the movie is if you're gonna put literal comedy scenes in the movie, why aren't they funny?
Well, he's not
Which-
succeeding though, right?
Right,
So that's kind of the point is like there's definitely a lot of stand up that doesn't work in the movie, and I think that's kind of great.
That's great.
It's like an episode of Seinfeld. Yeah,
No,
'cause
Seinfeld's funny.
He's not supposed to be hilarious.
Seinfeld is legitimately funny. This movie is not funny.
Go back and watch some Seinfeld.
Any of the
stuff.
scenes involving the comics are not funny.
I see Aaron's point.
Deal
I wish
with
they would've
Asian
made it-
people and chopsticks. They know we have forks. Why don't they use them?
That's not a Seinfeld bit. You
That
just
is
you just did
literally
a
a
fam-
Seinfeld
you did a
bit.
Family Guy as doing
Wait,
Seinfeld.
Is
No,
Skylar
dude,
is
that is
Skylar
the-
crapping on Seinfeld
Oh,
right
he
now? I'm
is.
confused.
He 1000% is.
Oh my gosh, he's so anti-Semitic. Okay.
Seinfeld's Jewish?
What's the deal? It,
I mean,
Skylar
I wear my
hates,
yarmulke.
Skylar hates every single good stand-up comedian that I can think of right now. Literally anyone I can name right now, and he will hate every one of them.
He's pro anti-comedy, is what it is.
He's pro anti-count. He's a part of that movement, the
Hey,
Antifa of comedy.
Aaron, can I read something for Aaron really
Let's
fast?
hear it.
Okay.
Oh,
What's the deal with Chinese people? I'll tell you what I
Okay.
like about them.
Okay.
They're hanging in there with chopsticks, aren't they? You know, they've seen the fork. They're staying with the sticks. I'm impressed by that. I don't know how they missed it. A Chinese farmer gets up, works in the field with a shovel all day, a shovel, but yet they're eating with chopsticks.
That wasn't
This
the same
is-
delivery though. You didn't do the
And plus,
the
that joke
delivery.
that
It's
joke
tiny.
came at a time when people didn't understand what the deal with chopsticks was. So you cannot make that joke in 2017 and expect it to work.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally didn't understand what the deal was.
It's as if Skylar hasn't looked back in time to any of the comics he loves to see if they've made jokes that don't, age well.
So that's the problem. He doesn't like any comic that existed before 2013.
That's
So
true.
that's
my,
his
all my
problem.
favorite comics are just YouTube
That's
stars
what
like
mantra,
Logan
nothing
Paul.
was funny before 2013.
You can't hate someone that wasn't alive in 2010.
Yeah, what was Tim Heidecker doing in 2010?
Making Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job.
You do hate
Don't hate
Brian
on Tim
Regan.
Heidecker. Don't you dare hate on Tim Heidecker.
Only because you love him so much.
He dropped a top 5 album this year.
I'm surprised you didn't squeeze that album into your top 10 list.
Yeah, I was gonna
Dude,
say.
we haven't
yeah.
made my top 3 yet, have we?
Oh. All right, my number 4. Actually, we just spoke about it a minute ago with Aaron's pick because my number 4 is Dunkirk. Dunkirk. Aaron, I don't need to rehash what Aaron already said. This is just a thrill of a movie. It's an incredible, an incredible experience that is so up close and in your face and loud and unrelenting and terrifying. And only Christopher Nolan could do that. Only Christopher Nolan could jump into a genre like war films and create something that feels fresh and different, but also just flat out make one of the best war movies of all time. I mean, if I'm ranking, my 5 or 10 favorites, it's absolutely on that list. And I think honestly, it's one of those films that I think will often be cited in the future as one of the great war films of all time. It'll be on that list somewhere.
My
And
question
it belongs.
is this peak Tom Hardy? Is this his best performance?
With a mask or
Yeah.
oh, Tom Hardy. That last scene with him landing the plane is
It's
so
great.
great.
It's a great
It's such a great scene. Oh, it's so good.
It's an awesome
I
scene.
know Kenneth Branagh hams it up a bit, but
He's just doing Kenneth Branagh. Like he's on
and
brand.
Ooh,
Mark Rylance was good, even though he stole the Oscar the year before, and I really haven't forgiven him for that.
What's the name
for
of the
his
little kid that gets the head injury and dies?
George.
Okay, but
Little
who's that
George.
actor? I don't know.
Oh, I don't think he was acting. I think it was just a little British boy they
Yeah,
grabbed.
yeah.
he looks like the little brother of the racist guy from Detroit.
Will Poulter.
Am I wrong?
He's the English Will Poulter.
Well, in
Will
that
Poulter is
case-
English.
Did he deserve to die? I mean, I don't know. Who's to say?
Dude, he's English, by the way. He's 100% English.
Yeah. Who?
Will Poulter.
Right. I know.
I
Wait.
thought he was
Well, Aaron just
Australian.
called him the English Will Poulter.
No.
Well,
Will
yeah,
Poulter
that's what he is. The English Will Poulter. Okay.
By the way, England, keep Will Poulter. We don't need him anymore. Just keep him over there.
By the way, England provided both Boyega and Poulter to tell our story in Detroit, which seems interesting.
Thank you,
All
England.
right. We're into our top 3. We're on the home stretch. I'm excited to see what you guys got, but there's going to be some overlap.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's going to be some overlap.
Yeah.
All right, so my number
right.
3 is the already mentioned Florida Project.
Oh,
Yeah,
3.
number 3.
I thought it dropped at the end because you hadn't named it.
No way.
Wow.
I love the Florida
But
Project.
you think I had
so
it way
much.
too low?
Yeah, I did think you had to wait too long. This is a movie that I just saw 2 weeks ago, basically, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind. It's so friggin' good. The Florida Project. I recommend this to anybody that likes movies to watch this movie. It's the most powerful, dramatic film of 2013 for me. So go see the Florida Project. It is quite the ride. It's a great story, great characters. We've already talked about it. And Willem Dafoe in his best performance since
Spider-Man.
The Great Wall. earlier this year.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know. I might give his performance in Great Wall the edge now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
before this movie? What was the Willem Dafoe performance like? What's the one movie?
Splatoon.
Splatoon,
Yeah.
Platoon, or not Splatoon?
Splatoon. Yeah, that's the sequel. Actually, no, that's the sound it makes when he gets gunned down.
He was in the parody too. He loved just
Can you
acting.
imagine a Splatoon movie made in the same
I think
tone
he was
as
famous
Splatoon?
for having his name be Willem. Like people are like, wait, Willem?
You mean William?
Wow.
Willem?
You mean William?
No,
no,
it's
Willem.
Willem. Yeah,
Which
no.
his real name's William, but he goes by Willem. I don't get it.
It's a
Wait,
better
it's-
choice.
It's
It's a better choice. He's incredible. He's
Well,
my
yeah,
hero for
yeah.
his performance in the Florida Project.
found a way to
Oh,
differentiate.
he's so good in the
Good for
movie. Just dynamite. All right, Skylar, what's your number 3?
It's been talked about a lot in the last couple rounds, as it was number 4 for both of you. It was
Oh.
Dunkirk.
Yeah.
So
good.
I get to say I liked Dunkirk most out of everyone here. So
Mhm.
screw you guys.
Wow.
What more can be said? I mean, it's a war movie, but really it's about time and it's about the essence of.
I'm curious, what was your favorite one of the 3 storylines? The land, air, sea.
Air was probably the most incredible looking.
Yeah.
I would say, give me Air, and especially getting to see that in a 6-story tall IMAX screen. It looked amazing. It sounded amazing. I don't know how they filmed all of it. Still, like, it was so
real
well done.
planes. Like, I mean,
No, that was all. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it was real planes. It looked amazing. Like, it's just. I was talking about those scenes for a long time. It was
it was the best
Great stuff.
IMAX release of the year, without a doubt. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't think
It's one of those-
Are we ever going to see a better looking war movie than Dunkirk?
no.
No, we could see it better. I mean,
I don't
just wait until we're watching everything in virtual reality, man. Come
Okay.
on.
That's true. Virtual reality
Good
movies
point.
could do it.
I didn't account for VR, so good
I
point.
didn't.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
didn't see the 4D version. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
So that's my number 3.
all right, Dunkirk, number 3. My number 3 film is David Lowery's A Ghost Story.
Whoa.
This is a film that I had to revisit recently as I was preparing for my end of year list. I went and rewatched a ton of stuff, especially stuff I saw in the first half of the year, because I really wanted to make sure I was sure. Gosh dang, I can't get over how incredible this film is. And it's not just because we've had him on the pod, which we're super grateful for, and I might feel like we're biased because of it. For those of you that don't know, Skylar did an interview with him earlier in the year on the pod. Please go check it out and listen to it. It's actually really good, and Skylar did a great job. A Ghost Story is a film to me that is, it's such a creative marvel. And I love the movie as much as I love the story behind the making of it. And I won't go into all the details, but I love that David Lowery had just this inkling, this little small idea of a movie that he wanted to make. Him and his wife are from Texas originally, around, Skylar's neck of the woods. And living in Los Angeles, the story he tells is that his wife wanted to move back to Texas, and they got in an argument over it, about moving back home. And that argument was like a consistent one. And he said for them, a pretty big argument. And it got him thinking about why he was so attached to physical spaces and why he didn't want to move, and what that means. And that was part of that. That was the first little kernel, as well as just this random image he had of an adult wearing a bedsheet in the looking like a ghost, and that can be both a comedic image, but also can be profound. That was just this. That was the basis of the idea. He wrote the script, expanded on a little. The first version was 10 pages, which expanded to 30 pages, and then that 30-page first draft was what they used for this film. Not that there's a ton of dialogue or explaining to do in the script, but the fact is he made this film on a shoestring budget because he didn't know if this is a film that would be good or if anyone would want to see it. But he just knew that he felt like this personal desire to make a movie about these feelings that he was feeling, and that he had willing actors, Academy Award winner Casey Affleck, Academy Award nominee Rooney Mara, who were willing to do it for nothing. So much so that they didn't announce they were making the movie, because he said that they didn't know if they were going to even release it. They literally made the movie in a pretty short amount of time, And if it wasn't going to work, they weren't going to release it. No one knew it was being made. No big deal. But if it did work, they would release it, which thank goodness it worked. And it worked so well. But the creative expression here, this kind of almost goes into the Brigsby Bear disaster artist theme of like making something completely uninhibited without any type of studio or restraint that's telling you, no, audiences would like this, or metrics show that you should make the movie like this. This was just David Lowery and an idea. For me, it was profound because when Lindsay and I first moved to New York City, it was such an amazing and alive city. But like, this is something I like to do to just, for my own personal creative expression, is if I'm feeling something and if I want to make a movie about it. And so oftentimes I would just run around New York with a friend or whatever, and I would just make something that I wanted to reflect a mood or a feeling or an image that I saw in New York. And I would just make a tiny little thing. Most of it was crap, garbage, never ever published it, never showed anyone. But I liked the process of doing it, and it felt cathartic. And I feel like for David Lowery, he did this on a much bigger scale and actually succeeded and made this incredible thing, which is so exciting. And it's a movie about time and about why we are attached to these places and what that means as we go through this journey. It is such a good film with the very best soundtrack of the year, and I don't think it's close. With an incredible main track, Daniel Hart, who has collaborated with David Lowery on all of his films thus far, just really created this feeling. I'll just say this: the scene when I knew that this was a special movie was in the hospital. There's just the super long take where we get the transition from Casey Affleck's character from before he was a ghost to when he became a ghost, and I knew the way that shot was framed and how long it was that I was in for some bold filmmaking. And thankfully it worked for me. So I know I went on a long ramble there, but A Ghost Story stuck with me. It's one of the greatest creative achievements of the year, and it's my third favorite film of 2017. All right, top two. Skylar's not saying anything because
I mean, you took his breath away.
I'll have more to say later.
You took his breath away with that description. I'll just ask, when can we take a field trip to that house that they used in the movie?
Well,
they actually demolished it.
Is
that real?
They demolished it in real life.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
they
that was
did
a
that for
model.
real.
I thought that was.
They
a
let
model.
him use the house for free because it was scheduled for demolition.
Incredible. Can we go to the
Yeah.
lot though?
Yes.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Oh, that works for
I
me.
can take you to all
What
the
about that
buildings that you
building
see in the
that-
shots at the end too.
Can we recreate the car crash that killed Casey's character?
We can try. I'll
Okay.
drive the other car.
Why don't we do that for our brave little retreat to Dallas? Is that we just go check out all the spots that Ghost Story was
We
filmed?
can start a Ghost Story tour where we just get a bus and everybody can get on board.
And
Go
one of the
around.
attractions is you push around a piano. So
Yes.
and
yeah,
we eat pie. Yes.
So
And you get Tara
Sarah
with
Sarah
Theo
comments
family.
here. Pie must be your favorite dessert. It is because it's way better than cake. No, is A Ghost Story the greatest Dallas film of all time?
It's right there with RoboCop.
Wait,
Now,
the
RoboCop gets points off for
that
the
Detroit?
remake? No. The remake is in Dallas.
Oh,
No.
gosh.
The first one takes place in Detroit, but it's all shot within like a half mile of my apartment. So
Well, the answer is the Zapruder film is the number one film about Dallas.
yeah, Sacramento can't touch that.
This is definitely the best special effects. That's for sure.
No doubt about it. Missing some frames though. Want to know where those went?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
Aaron.
number 2 for me is the movie that you guys haven't seen. It's the movie Stronger, starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Thought you were gonna say Stronger by your
Wow.
name.
Yes, Stronger.
Did you just put Stronger at number 2 because Skylar he owned Jake Gyllenhaal corner. It looks like he gave it up.
It's mine. He
He gave it up by not seeing Stronger.
blew it by not seeing Stronger. He was stuck on Nightcrawler.
I blinked and I missed it.
Nightcrawler's so good though.
What's that boxing movie he did? Lefty or something?
Gosh.
Southpaw.
Southpaw.
Get out of here.
That's not a good movie. However, Stronger is
It's
a
a good movie.
great Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Southpaw's a good movie.
And
But is okay.
yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, Stronger is the story of this person that was involved in the Boston Marathon bombings. He's a guy that lost his legs and went on to have a series of other unfortunate events in his life, and it's perfectly portrayed by one Jake Gyllenhaal in a very very gritty portrayal. This is the best that Jake Gyllenhaal has ever been. I mean, I said earlier that Robert Pattinson deserves the best actor Oscar. I take that back. I must amend my earlier statement because Jake Gyllenhaal gives the best performance of any male lead in any movie this year. I just rewatched the movie again today to be sure that it belongs in my top two, and I am 100% sure that Stronger belongs at number two. It is by far the most emotional performance. Like, it's just everything about it is just a great story, and I love the way that it was handled. The execution is flawless. It's a movie that I will rewatch a million times because it's so good. It's hard to watch. It's because it's sad, but it's also it's a story of redemption, and it's a story of a flawed individual that has troubles that I can really relate to, and I think he feels like a human being the way that he's portrayed in this movie. And it's not like rah rah like the other Boston Marathon bombing movie, which is just.
I was just gonna say, is it the best Boston Marathon bombing
I
movie?
mean, there's only one as far as I'm concerned. The other one is I don't know what that is. That's pure propaganda. This movie's amazing. It is incredible. It's my number two favorite movie of the year. Stronger. It's available on demand now. Go see it. Jake Gyllenhaal deserves the Oscar. He's so
Now,
good.
which of the Sarnoff brothers does Jake Gyllenhaal play?
He actually plays both of them. It's kind of a
Wow.
clumps thing,
Bold.
like a
Yeah,
Meet the
it's
Clumps.
like Army Hammer did in Social Network, or
Right,
or
yeah.
Yeah. So
Nutty Professor.
yes,
There you go.
exactly. Jake Gyllenhaal,
That
man,
makes sense.
get back on the Jake G train. He is going places. This guy.
So you've been giving us a hard time about this, Aaron, about seeing Stronger,
It absolutely makes no sense that you guys haven't seen this movie.
I take your recommendation seriously.
Yeah.
I went and saw.
It
I
was
saw
in
Good
theaters
Time,
for 5 minutes.
and I mean, I trust your film opinions maybe above anyone else. No offense, Skylar. You're number two though. And you've been honest about Stronger. I just haven't been able to bring myself to like. I'm never in the mood to watch a Boston Marathon bombing movie that doesn't star Mark Wahlberg.
So, and this is the great thing about it, though. It is not a. It's okay. It is a Boston Marathon bombing movie, but it's not. And then that's
Yeah.
what I love about it. The bombing is over within the first 15 minutes. Everything after that is all about. It's all about the character of that Jake is playing, and he just nails it. It feels so authentic, so real, that you're just riveted by every scene. You want to see how it plays out. You want to see how his relationships change and how they don't change. His family is amazing. Like, everyone in his family are a bunch of characters. They're very Boston, and just Jake is just. I mean, he's out of this world. This is the best work he's ever done by far. So
Look, you just put it as your number two film in a year like 2017 with so many good movies, which officially has done enough to convince me to watch it. I definitely see it now.
I can't-
I had no idea
yeah.
you were going to rank it this high. No
Skylar
idea.
needs to see it, and because he will fall in love with this Jake. This is, but I will say this is an uglier Jake Gyllenhaal. He's very. I mean,
They did
he's
some stuff to his face.
yeah. So they let his hair grow out. He's not
Is it
looking
kind of
very.
like what James Franco did for Tommy Wiseau? Just some
with
prosthetics.
a little less prosthetics. Yeah, although his legs are gone. So, yeah,
Oh,
be prepared for that.
okay.
So go see Stronger. It rules. I love Stronger.
Okay. Stronger. All right. Skylar, you're number two.
My number two is from the. Oh, it's actually interesting. So, I have two of my top three movies from last year. Directors had two of my top three movies from this year. So a little bit of carryover. My favorite directors keep making my favorite movies. So my number two is from the director of Hunt for the Wilder People. It's a little movie called Thor Ragnarok, which we've talked about recently, and it's so good. I think about it quite a bit. It's so funny, and it does such a good job of changing expectations, and it's just, if you haven't seen it and you're remotely interested in superhero movies, or even not that interested in superhero movies, I feel like it just works on a lot of levels. I love Taika, what he brought to the movie. I love the freedom that Marvel gave him to go on set and change lines the day before, the day of, on the set. They gave him so much creative freedom, and I feel like he absolutely killed it. And I love Thor Ragnarok, and it's not my favorite movie of his, but it's still like easily my second favorite movie of the year. It's so entertaining. I feel like once I own that, I'll be able to watch it 5 times in a year. Like it's just one of those movies I just want to watch again and again. It's so Goldblum is so good in that. I love that character.
It's the
Can't
funniest
wait to
movie of
watch
the
that
year
again.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's not his best movie, but it's definitely his funniest movie. It's funnier than Hunt for the Wilder People, but it's not as good.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, you think it's funnier?
oh yeah,
I think so.
Oh,
Hunt for the
wow.
Wilder
Yeah.
People is hilarious, but Hunt for the Wilder People also has a
Oh yeah,
heart.
I laughed more in Hunt for the Wilder People for sure.
Huh. Hmm.
Weird.
I loved. Yeah, I didn't think that was crazy. I
It
love
is.
Thor Ragnarok though.
Well, were you laughing
Hunt
at
for
the
the Wilder
jokes or were you
People.
laughing at their accents? Because,
Yeah,
Oh, I was
good
just fat
question.
shaming the whole time.
well,
Mm.
you've already set the precedent in this podcast, so we know what type of person you are.
So, Skylar, is it your favorite Marvel film?
Easily.
Good
Okay,
call.
and it was
Good
previously
call.
the first Guardians, right?
Um, mm, Iron
that-
Man, the first Guardian, they're all up there.
Okay, I thought it was I thought you were. I thought it was clear. I thought it was like easily the first Guardians. I thought that was your number
I
one.
really like the first Guardians, but Guardians 2 kind of brought down the first Guardians a little bit.
Oh
So
wow, you soured on Guardians too.
Guardians 2 wasn't great. It was fine, but it wasn't nearly as good as the first one. And that's the thing about this movie. It's the third movie in a series. The second one was terrible, and to me it's amazing to take a character who's become kind of boring over the last couple of movies and
Mhm.
bring him back to life in a way that is really fresh and unique. And gosh, I really loved it. I
Well,
just thought
I think this
so
is the
good.
first time ever where the third movie in the series is the best of the series.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's not even
and by a
close.
mile,
Like
by a mile, the best.
right. And it's such a departure. Like the first movie tried to be funny, but Kenneth Branagh was directing, so I mean it
Is
could only
it-
be so funny.
Is it shocking to you how bad Thor: Dark World is? Like,
It's pretty shocking that they
It's
made so many
truly-
bad decisions. I mean, it's honestly shocking to me that they allowed Taika to make this movie.
yeah, that's
Like-
yeah.
It's also shocking to me that it's not your favorite Marvel movie.
Me?
It's hard to believe that.
I mean,
it
it's in
wouldn't
my.
be-
I put it in my top 5 for sure.
It's so good. Oh,
It
it's
was
so
great.
good.
I really enjoyed it. It's my number 14 film. If we're gonna talk about the other ones, but
That's insane. But
I don't want to
okay.
spoil. Hey, no, that's good. I really, really liked it. I really did. I just liked Hunt for the Wilder People a lot more, but that has nothing to do with why I ranked it there. But Thor Ragnarok. I'm excited to hear on the next round what your number one film is.
Yeah,
For
nobody
me-
knows at this point.
It's anyone's guess. Honestly, I was trying to figure out Aaron's number one. I've been writing down your films as you've been naming. I'm looking at Aaron's and I'm like, I'm forgetting.
Wide open.
I'm having a brain fart because I know I'm clearly forgetting a film that he loved, but I'm looking at it thinking,
Logan. Yeah,
Dude,
We'll
it's pretty
see.
obvious. He's gonna do
Mine-
Good Time again.
yeah,
it was such a good
Good
time.
Time was just
second viewing
it was
was a
a
good
juke.
time.
It's like, oh, you thought it was 6. Nope.
That would be unprecedented on this pod to do that. My second film, my number 2 film of the year is a film it's a masterpiece of a film. It's a film that's going to stand the test of time. It's a film in a lot of ways is about Sacramento. In a lot of ways, it's also not, and that's Star Wars: The Last Jedi. We have a very lively pod where we debate these these many points, these many scenes, these many different things about The Last Jedi. Truly the most divisive film of the year. Other than the fact that all the critics and every credible audience poll is positive. It's truly not divisive. It's just a great film. And I know you two had some issues with it, and I hope with time heals all wounds and that you'll revisit it and learn to love it as much as I do. I will say my last point on the film, because since we went over an hour talking about this last time, and it was hard because there was 2 guys just ganging up on me here. I felt like I had no chance of winning that.
We were so
We've got a lot of
passionate
feedback.
about it.
I will say this. The reason why I was so thrilled with The Last Jedi is because, and even though I loved The Force Awakens, I really do, still more than either of you like The Force Awakens, when I left The Force Awakens, the biggest questions we had in this story was who are the parents of this main character, this new character, Rey? What was Luke doing on that island? Who is Snoke and what's his backstory? All of them were mystery questions, wondering around about the past, about things that had already happened. It was all about looking backward, and that is what J.J. Abrams chose to focus on. And even though he introduced a lot of really interesting and I think incredible new characters, the story suffered because these mysteries he put forth were mysteries that required us to wonder about the past. Leaving The Last Jedi for me, I don't have any of those same questions. My questions are what's going to happen to Kylo and Rey? What's going to happen to the Resistance, this new rebellion? Now, they're hanging on a threat. There's just a few of them left. How are they going to build up? What's Rey going to do? Is she going to train Jedis? What's going to happen here? How many hours or years are they going to skip ahead before episode 9 begins? What's Kylo? How is he going to be this? How is he going to lead as the supreme leader of the First Order? Because once episode 9 starts, they will be in power like the Galactic Empire was in power, probably in A New Hope. All of my questions were about the future, about what's going to happen to these characters. Where is the story going? Not who's so-and-so's parents. What's the backstory of this character? What was Luke doing on that island? It's all about looking forward. And the fact that Rian Johnson could take a story that was set by somebody else of which he had no say whatsoever and just completely rearrange this what I would view as like this chessboard, being like, no, this is the direction. I want everyone looking forward. I want to push these characters forward. And I think he just did it in a marvelous way. So it's my second favorite film of the year. I've seen it 6 times so far in theaters. And I'm going to see it probably 3 or 4 more times before it leaves. Yeah, in my mind, right now it's the second or third greatest Star Wars film and has a chance to be the greatest. It's just, I feel that strongly about the film. So that's my number 2.
Yeah. Still wrong
I'm
about
passionate.
it, but it's nice to hear that you're passionate about it. So enough about Star Wars. Let's get down to something that actually matters. It's my number 1 movie of 2017 is Blade Runner 2049.
Number 1.
Number 1, Blade Runner. This is the movie that blew me away the hardest.
Wow.
Man, it's hard to explain the experience that I had watching this movie. Again, I didn't know what to expect. It's a sequel. The first Blade Runner is a masterpiece, beloved for since it was actually not since it was released. It was actually beloved once it hit home video, but it's been accepted as a masterpiece because it is. So with Blade Runner 2049, we got a new director in Denis Villeneuve. We got this new vision. We got a new starring character, Ryan Gosling. And I just think every element of this movie worked perfectly for me. It's just, I think Villeneuve had this impossible task to re-enter this world of a modern sci-fi classic. And he was up to it. I think that he created a world that's every bit as equal as the original, and I think that he did the impossible task of making a sequel that's every bit as interesting as the original and as artistically equivalent to the original. Because this movie,
better? Is it a better film than the original?
I think there's an argument to say that it is a better overall film than the first
I think
Blade
it is.
Runner. And I loved it for that. I think it was such a beautifully shot movie, great writing. The characters I think there's more depth to the characters in this movie than the original. Like, by far, there's more interesting characters in this. So yeah, I just loved Blade Runner 2049. Wow. I was totally blown away. I was totally shocked at how much I loved this movie. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, really. But this movie was just, it hit me like right in the chest. And this is what I was talking about, the entertainment factor of my list. There was no movie that entertained me more than Blade Runner 2049.
Interesting. They use that word entertain because that's the big knock in the film, is that it's so slow and plodding
it never felt slow to me. Like, that's the thing about, I don't know how he did it, but for whatever reason, this story spoke to me on such a level that I never found it slow. I just found it perfectly paced, and I loved all the elements. I loved how deep they went. And Ryan Gosling was fine. Like, he did a great, he was fine in his role. So that was one of my concerns, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of modern Ryan Gosling. I liked a lot of his earlier stuff, but this is, like, some of his later performances are not so good. But this one, he was really good at it. So
really good.
I wholeheartedly approve of Blade Runner
Wait,
2049.
you were just praising two of his last performances.
No. Gosling? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just saying
Nice guy.
you loved La La Land and Good Times. Or
No,
not
no,
Good
he's
Times.
he's the worst part of La La
La Land and
Land.
Good Guys.
Yeah.
Good fellas. Good times.
Russell
Good
Crowe's
boys.
the best part of Nice Guys.
Yeah,
by the
he
way.
is. That's
Nice
very
guys.
nice.
Yeah.
So I'll have to confess, but Blade Runner's been in my top 10 all year long. And up until very recently, it was when I just bumped it down to my number 12 slot. But we had people tweet in their top 10 lists, and we had a bunch of people submit. People that listen to the pod that were super grateful that take the time to listen. And you know what? 2 of the lists actually have Blade Runner 2049 as number 1. We have Alex Potato Baker had it as his number 1 film of 2017, as well as Brian Banks had it as number 1 film of
My
2017.
boys.
We'll go through some of the other lists after we're done wrapping up ours. And we'll kind of run through and see what else people were thinking. But 2 people.
Yeah, and I'm just going to make the prediction now. I think Blade Runner 2049 is going to age the best out of all
So I
these
was going
movies
to ask
in
that.
2017.
Was it heartbreaking to you though, because audiences rejected this film?
Yeah, I think audiences are stupid for the most part. So yeah, it,
Okay.
it was heartbreaking to me because I think it's a masterpiece. And it's obvious to see once you sit through it. This is a very, very special movie. And I think that it's only going to get more admired with age.
It just didn't have the fact of its length, I think.
I wanted it
and
to be longer.
That's amazing.
I know it is.
See,
I love
I
Danny
am of
Villeneuve.
I do think it could have been shorter personally, but I
Well, you're wrong,
get
but that's okay.
it's in my it's in my top 12 films. I loved it. It's a visual treat as
Okay,
well.
what'd you think of Harrison Ford's performance?
Oh, it's the first time he's cared since The Force Awakens, but no, but seriously though, it's the first time he's truly cared on screen in over a decade.
Yeah, it's the first time he showed emotion since the airplane crash. And we're
Oh
not
my
even
gosh.
sure that he showed emotion when he crashed that airplane.
No. Just he just said a bunch of things in a grumbly voice.
He blamed Chewie for that too.
I heard he blamed the golf course for being built there.
Yeah.
I should have built a damn runway.
Oh gosh, Harrison Ford. I can't believe he's able to survive a plane crash.
He should have been dead. That's
It's
crazy.
amazing. And at that age too. It's like, gosh, it's got to do a number on your body. Anyway, okay. So we are now to Skylar's favorite film of 2017.
Yeah, so I think everybody's figured it out. This is the David Lowery joint that David was just singing the praises to at his number 3. For me, my number 1 movie of the year was A Ghost Story, and I am 100% partial because this is a movie that's set place in the Irving, Texas, just west of me here in Dallas. And on a lot of levels, I got to talk to David about this movie before it was made. When I first met him, I got to talk to him about it during the press junket tour. I've talked to him since then about it. I think it's a masterpiece of a story about time, which I think is something interesting about another top 3 movie, Dunkirk. It was really an exploration of time. This movie, I think, even more so, was an exploration of what time is, what reality is, what we are, and I think he absolutely killed it. And I love A Ghost Story. When you talk about like entertaining movies, I'm kind of a popcorn movie kind of guy. I love the Mission Impossible movies. I love Ragnarok.
Mhm.
Give me like Baby Driver, the movies where you're just sitting there, you're up watching the screen, and it's exciting the whole time. But I also love a movie like this that can completely change your expectations and sit there and have a shot that lasts for 3 minutes. And the thing that's happening isn't visually changing. It's about the music, and it's about making you look for things. And it's such a great film, and I loved it. I loved it a lot. So thank you, David Lowery, for making this movie, for representing Dallas so well. It's
And for being
it's
your
our
text
Lady
buddy.
Bird. What's that?
And for being your text buddy.
Yeah, thank you for that as well.
Can I just say real quick? It's not in my top 10, but I think it is the most daring movie of 2017.
Oh yeah.
So on that level, I totally appreciate it. I'm with you guys 100% there. So
For me, it's one of the most creative pieces of filmmaking I've ever seen, and successfully so. Not just for it is you could categorize this as kind of an artsy fartsy type of film, and that was definitely my main concern going in. Is like, okay, how pretentious is this going to get? And David Lowery is one of the least pretentious filmmakers I think I've ever seen in an interview. This is a film that is artistic in ways that you haven't seen movies made quite like this before. You haven't seen a single shot of Rooney Mara eating an entire pie in real time, but it actually has purpose. It's not just showboaty. This isn't Lars von Trier. This is actual good filmmaker.
Whoa, I love Lars. Come on.
Shots fired.
Yeah, it's an arts film made by a guy whose favorite movie is Star Wars.
Yeah, and he's gonna get a Star Wars spin-off film, and it's gonna be incredible. I can't wait. The Chewbacca origin story, maybe.
Will be amazing.
It doesn't surprise me that it's number one on your list, and it's absolutely deserving. So good. I'm always happy to talk more about the ghost, a ghost story, not the a. All right. You talked about you feel like you're biased because it was filmed where you're from, right? Well, talk about my number one film, which is Greta Gerwig's masterpiece of a coming of age story, Lady Bird. We've done this is a film we've done a whole episode on. I don't want to repeat the same points, but I also want to make clear that this isn't a film that I have at number one because I'm from Sacramento and she made a movie about her time in high school, which was the exact time I was in high school, in an area that I went to high school. But she actually made it a really compelling movie, regardless of its actual locale. It's so understated in all the right ways. It's not a very showy film, but it's hilarious. It's so true to the upbringing. And yes, she captured Sacramento in a cinematic way that I didn't think was possible. Sacramento is I consider a very beautiful place, but it's not like a traditionally it's not a type of city that is going to pop on screen like New York or San Francisco that has these kind of iconic images and landmarks and culture and whatnot. It's way more subtle in a city like Sacramento, and that's harder to get on film, but no better than a person that was born and raised here to try and capture that. But it's not just because I like Sacramento. I'm glad she made something that made Sacramento look good, but it services the story in this way. And it's that, well, I see these shots that Greta Gerwig is shooting, which are incredible. She has a shot of the Tower Bridge in downtown Sacramento that is reminiscent of Manhattan, Woody Allen's Manhattan, of that shot of that bridge shot there. It makes downtown look spectacular. There's these shots where she has the sun coming up over the trees. Sacramento is known for having a ton of trees. It's the city of trees. She beautifully shoots these scenes that makes it look incredible. Meanwhile, the main character, played by Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird, she's undercutting all of those visuals by the fact that she hates where she lives. She wants to get out of where she's from. And meanwhile, Greta is showing that this is a beautiful place. There's magic here. This is actually an incredible place, even though this main character refuses to see that. And I think it's something that a lot of people can identify no matter where they're from, about leaving home and then realizing what home was after you've gone. And all of those things lead up to the climactic ending, the scene with Lady Bird when she comes to that realization, and it's all the more affecting. I went back and saw it again. The second time, I loved it even more than the first time. It's absolutely my favorite film of the year. And Greta Gerwig is the most exciting new filmmaker for me. She's my David Lowery, and we're going to get her on the pod. And the thing is that she has a higher profile. She's been nominated for an Academy Award for Frances Ha. And it's going to be a little bit harder to get through to her publicist, but I'm still going to try.
Well, she's much better looking than David Lowery, so.
She is. I love David Lowery. Not a handsome person.
No, that's wrong. Dude, David Lowery is
bald hair and
charismatic.
mustache.
If you walk up and stand next to him, he has the prettiest eyes of anyone.
No, he is easy on the eyes, yeah.
This is getting uncomfortable.
He's beautiful, man.
Okay. I did say we would run really quick through what didn't make our list, the next 10 films. I think we should, without commentary, we should blow through those. And then I want to just mention a couple of these lists that we had submitted and we can wrap up, okay?
Sounds good.
I'll just kick it off since I just talked about my number one film. So the films that just barely didn't make it, but ones, again, could easily ask me next week, and some of these could have easily been swapped out for some of the bottom ones on my list. But this is 11 through 20. I have got Coco, Blade Runner 2049, Get Out, a film that really easily could have been in the top 10. For me, it was for who had Get Out on their list? Skylar.
Yeah.
And then I have Thor Ragnarok, City of Ghosts, War for the Planet of the Apes, Good Time, The Big Sick, Logan, and then Wind River. What did you have, Skylar?
11 through 20 is Wonder Woman, Battle of the Sexes, Disaster Artist, Logan. So like I said, I like all four of those movies a lot. They all could have
Battle of
been.
the Sexes.
Yeah,
Oh wow, I thought it was a bit of a bore. It was like okay.
I
I'm
liked it.
surprised. Oh,
I
cool.
enjoyed that. Yeah, that was well performed. That Steve Carell, I thought could get a nom.
He can get it.
He looked
No, the
so
performances by both him and Emma and
Emma Stone.
there you go. I was gonna almost said Emma Watson. Yeah, they're definitely good performances.
Then Logan Lucky, Kong Skull Island,
Yeah.
I Am Not Your Negro. That one's a harsh one to say. Lost City of Zed.
I was expecting that on Aaron's list.
It's a fun watch. It's on my extended list.
Okay.
Then Atomic Blonde and Split.
There's Split. I knew it had to been somewhere.
A lot of depth to this year, so there's a ton of good movies out there. Don't
Oh
believe
yeah,
it when
Murder
people
on the
say,
Orient Express had a lot of depth
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Pirates of the Caribbean had a lot of depth. Sorry, call back to Skylar's joke.
It's very good. It's a very good.
Aaron,
call.
how do you round out your list?
My 11 through 20: Brigsby Bear, Wind River, Baby Driver, The Work, City of Ghosts. Those are my two docs right there. Logan, Three Billboards, Lost City of Z, A Ghost Story is number 19 for me. And then, not only do you guys have movies that are based in your hometown, I had a movie based in my hometown for the first time ever.
What?
That's
they
right.
make movies there?
They sure do. My hometown of the city of Paramount.
Oh,
Yes.
literally. Oh, I thought you meant Los
Literally.
Angeles.
No, not LA. The city of Paramount. One little movie came out. The movie is called Gook, which is a derogatory term,
Ooh.
but it is
Am I
written and
gonna have to edit that
directed.
out?
No, because it's written and directed by a Korean filmmaker, Justin Chon. So this is actually not a biographical story, true story about a semi-true story. His father owned a shoe store in the city of Paramount that was burned down during the LA riots, and so this is that story. And Justin Chon, he wrote, directed, and stars in this movie, and it's a really interesting story. A great throwback to the early to mid '90s kind of independent film, shot in black and white. Really interesting story. Go check it out. Yeah, it's a good one. Based in the city of Paramount. So
Where is it accessible? Is it?
it's very accessible. So the story is basically just these two brothers, their father.
No, sorry. I meant like on iTunes.
Oh
or
yeah.
Netflix or
Of course, it's streaming now. You can get it for like
It is streaming.
$5
Okay,
on
okay.
Amazon.
Just be
Prime.
careful when you're searching for it. Your Google might think you're a racist.
Yeah, don't search for it at work. Probably it's probably a bad idea. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the name of the movie. That's the reality. And Justin Chon is a filmmaker to look out for because he was awesome in this.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great extended list. Well,
By the way,
it's been a great year for movies.
totally great. I did some math. Out of the 30 movies we picked for our top 10s, we had 22 original movies. So we only
Whoa!
overlapped 8 times.
That's a
awesome.
record for us.
That's great.
That speaks to 2007, the depth of 2017.
Oh, Johnny.
So much depth.
Should have given him the donal. So we did have people submit their lists. I don't know if I'll read every single list top to bottom, but I do want to highlight at least a few films on each of these lists. I'd mentioned Alex Potato Baker having Blade Runner #1, which when I first saw it, thought was bold until one of the very own co-hosts here also did it, which is great. Alex also has the Star Wars: The Last Jedi at #2, just like me, and then Dunkirk, Get Out, Baby Driver rounds out his top 5. He does have Thor in his top 10 as well, and The Big Sick. And then this, I do want to call it this #10 for Alex, Bright.
Wow.
Bold. I like
Wow.
Big Will Smith
it. Not a
fan.
popular pick, but an underrated movie. Not a great movie.
Is it under? It's got like a 90 on the Rotten Tomato audience score.
But no, I mean, like the critics killed it. I mean, it was fine.
Critics are harsh.
It exceeded my expectations,
Be
but
more
my
loved it.
expectations were incredibly low. And then
See, Rand
huge
Smith?
friend of the pod, Patreon subscriber, even Trevor Walker. He actually puts Baby Driver, Kevin Spacey and all as his #1 film of the year.
Bold.
And then
Bold choice.
just like me, #2 is The Last Jedi, and then he has Coco, Get Out, and Logan that rounds up the 5. Another Get Out in the top 5. He also has Brigsby Bear at 6, which is cool to see. And then some of the other films on his list, most of them we've actually already mentioned. So moving on to Rhett Hildebrand, who's actually commented on this very feed here while we've been recording this episode. He puts Thor at number 1. So he's in Skylar's camp of having that close to the top there. But then he's got Coco, Big Sick, Spider-Man Homecoming at number 4, and then Baby Driver at number 5. So he does have Star Wars at number 8. Every one of these lists, FYI, has Star Wars.
He has Mother at number 9, which is just...
Ooh, nice. Good call, Rat.
He does. I was going to mention that too. Yep. Jerem McDonald, who has guest hosted a couple years ago on the Attack of the Clones pod as well as the Spielberg pod. His list has The Last Jedi at number 1. He has A Ghost Story at number 2. So his top 2 are, well, I guess his top 3 are actually my same top 3 in a different order. So he has Lady Bird at number 3. And then Get Out at 4, another reference there in the top 5. And then Wind River at 5. He also lists a movie that none of us mentioned, Okja at number 6.
Oh, okay.
Name at number 8, and Godless at number 10. So that's interesting. Nate Farr puts Star Wars: The Last Jedi as the number 1 film of the year. Thank you, Nate. You're not wrong. He has Get Out at number 2, Baby Driver at number 3, Wonder Woman 4, Big Sick 5. And then other film he had that we didn't mention at number 9 was John Wick 2.
Atomic
and then
Blonde
lastly,
was
Brian.
Better than John Wick 2.
I love John Wick 2.
Atomic Blonde is better.
Lastly,
Agreed.
Brian Banks had Blade Runner 2049 at number 1, Dunkirk number 2, Lady Bird at number 3, Logan number 4, Star Wars: The Last Jedi at number 5. And then he has a couple films that we didn't reference. Ones that actually I haven't even seen, but Call Me By Your Name he has at number 8, it looks like, and Shape of the Water at 9. Lost City of Z at 10, and then he has 11 and 12 on here, which is Florida Project and Baby Driver. So anyway, it's interesting to see those lists come in, and I'm super grateful to the people that submitted.
Definitely.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much. Lastly, want to congratulate Caleb Landry Jones again on winning this year's Donal.
Not my
It's going to be really going to help him in his career moving forward. But it's been a heck of a year for cinema. I don't know how 2008 is going to top it. It probably won't. But
2008?
18. Okay, I'll say this: 2008 did not top 2017. Actually, 2008 had The Dark Knight.
Yeah, but 2007 was the real year. Like that was the pinnacle of 2000 cinema. So
right, and I was on my mission at that time, my LDS mission, where we actually aren't allowed to watch movies for 2 years.
But you still did anyway,
But yeah, that didn't stop me from. No, it did stop me. When I got home, I got to catch up on movies like There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men, and no movies will do a quicker job of Welcome Back to the Real World than those 2 movies. Anyway, guys, did you have anything else you wanted to say about the year in cinema?
I think we said it all. Beautiful year.
All right.
2018.
Guys, great list.
It's
been great podding with you. It's been a long pod.
I have some breaking things I'm reading from the Golden Globes tonight. You both might want to sit down, especially David. Greta Gerwig.
Oh, boy.
Greta Gerwig, director of your number 1 favorite film of the year, was asked about her decision to work with Woody Allen. And she said, "It's something that I've thought deeply about and I care deeply about. And I haven't had an opportunity to have an in-depth discussion where I came down on one side or the other, but it's something I've definitely taken to heart." So
that quote was from several days. That quote was from that didn't happen today.
I'm seeing this as
she
today.
confirmed it today.
She repeated the exact same quote that like weeks ago.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
That's a beautiful centrist take right there.
First off,
she knew.
Greta believes in innocent until proven guilty. No, I'm kidding. First off, Greta's a queen. Okay.
Don't drag her. Do not drag that queen.
Do not drag her.
I'll drag
If
her
I
around her
see
for
you, if I see you hanging up posters around Dallas of Greta with the image that says "she knew" over her eyes about Woody Allen, I'm going to be mad.
Not only did she know, I'm reading now that she's actually her next project's going to be working with O.J. Simpson. So
ooh, that's problematic.
Not for being more.
It is. It's adaptation of "If I Did It," is what the next project is.
That's what's terrible about it is I would see that movie.
So would I.
That's the problem.
Who am I
it
kidding?
would be phenomenal.
Can't help
It
myself.
would be phenomenal.
All right. Anything else? Did we not mention anything? We mentioned that Ryan Johnson wrote the best screenplay. We did mention that.
What's coming out this month that we want to see? Anything?
Well, we're entering the non-peak good movie season. Really,
January is the
it's the
dumpster
films
fire.
that had their limited release in December, like Phantom Thread,
Oh yeah,
like
okay.
The Post. Guys, how excited are you to see Spielberg's on a scale from 1 to 10? Spielberg's new movie, The Post.
2.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it's,
at it too.
It's basically,
Although I'm more excited to see that than Phantom Thread.
that's
Really?
a good point. I agree with that
Dude.
actually.
But this is the thing. So Paul Thomas Anderson, Aaron, he was in your Mount Rushmore
He's
when we did our Mount
beloved.
Rushmore, Paul.
He's beloved by me. So
Which means you go see their newest movie no matter what. But man, watching that trailer,
it's a slog.
Yeah.
You know what's a problem when the trailer is a slog?
it is.
So
By the end of the trailer, it's like not one fiber of my being is interested in seeing this story.
He's so far up his own butt now that
Paul
he's
Thomas Anderson or
lost
DDA?
all trace of what a good movie is.
Wait, are you talking about?
Like The Master wasn't that great.
Yeah, you're
Inherent
out of your
Vice
mind.
was terrible.
You're out
you're out of your
mind.
mind.
That's-
You're out of your mind. Stop
he's
it.
just giving hot takes now. All right,
Inherent
cut him
Vice
off.
was
Cut him off.
Trash.
Yeah, this is yeah. Oh my gosh, we need to
He
stop.
hasn't made a
You're
good
going to
movie
say
since
things you regret.
Magnolia.
Say some things you regret.
He
and
can't take
I
these
don't
things
want that.
back.
I don't want that for you. I don't. I'm on the record for saying that The Master has a very messy third act, but the first 2 acts are some of the best filmmaking I've ever seen in my entire life. It's the best of Paul Thomas Anderson's career. The first 2 acts of The Master is his best work. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix. I don't think there's 2 better performances in any one movie in a century.
That's insane.
So you take your hot takes and you shove it. Go out to Irving, Texas, or, wherever that is. The Ghost Story was filmed. I can't believe you said that. Actually, I'm offended the more I think
Terrible.
about it. You can
That's
crap
terrible.
on Inherent Vice. It's his worst film. That's fine, but don't go after. Don't do that. Don't do. Philip Seymour Hoffman, have some respect. One of the greatest actors ever.
Oh yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh, I don't have enough
Yeah,
heroin. I'm
Joaquin
gonna call my
Phoenix, film
heroin dealer.
Jesus. You know.
Oh,
He's-
give me some more heroin, please.
He never said that. He never said
He
that.
he definitely said give me some
never
more
said
heroin.
those words. Not one time.
100% said it dozens of times. Please, sir, can I have some more heroin?
This
They
is,
hold out a-
getting, this is ending on the worst note imaginable.
I mean, okay.
Aaron?
So what did Heath Ledger say then? If that's what.
He said, "Hey, Mary-Kate and Ashley, give me that crack."
No, Heath Ledger said, "Oh man, I wish I could break out of this character that I'm trapped in. I can't stop acting like this character from this Christopher Nolan movie I just acted in.
Do you
Let me
think
take
he
these
looked in the
sleeping
mirror?
pills."
Do you think he looked in the mirror and said, "Why am I so serious?"
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah, he could have. Well, because he had made A Knight's Tale, which was not a very serious film. It's very jokey.
No, he missed that. He said, "Why am I so serious?"
Okay, can we just say real quick, Heath Ledger's finest role is 10 Things I Hate About You?
Oh yeah, so that's a movie. It's a movie that Lindsay had never seen. I actually watched with her this about a month or 2 ago for the first time. Dude, that movie holds the freak up.
No kidding, I've
It's
seen it
Knight's
100
Tale, though.
times.
Oh.
It's so good. Lindsay loved it.
Correct. take.
Great movie.
Yeah.
It's that, and then probably Brokeback, and then Dark Knight.
And then The Knight's Tale.
It's-
Distant.
and then
Knight's Tale holds
I
up.
was gonna say, then it's A Knight's Tale for sure.
Mhm.
And Knight's Tale has Dallas native Alan Tudyk. Alan
Mhm.
Tudyk.
Plano native. Plano native.
And it
Rogue
has,
One
a,
star.
has a Queen song in it in a movie
It
set
does.
in the.
It has a medieval jousting audience
You're making fun of
chanting to a Queen song.
I'm
That
making fun of
movie.
Knight's Tale. It's good.
Good grief.
Good.
I will admit, the Stauffer family was a big fan when it came out in theaters. We did like that movie.
I was a big fan of the
Go see it
female
today.
lead in
It's
that.
good still.
Yeah.
Rhett Hildebrand was one of our Patreon subscribers out of Chicago, Illinois. He actually his business venture that he's opened up is this escape room in Chicago. So if we do have any Chicago listeners, please look up the Rhett's escape room. What's the name of it? I'm not immediately remembering.
Rhett, what's the name of your escape room business?
Rhett, you have very little time here to comment what that is.
Called The Quandary.
The Quandary.
Escape
The
room.
Quandary.
Killer.
Anyway.
Yes, The Quandary.
So Rhett, one of the most creative people I've ever met, he has these themes. It sounds like for his escape rooms, and he's saying that his next escape room is based off of 10 Things I Hate About
Oh,
You,
that's awesome.
which sounds like the best type of escape
Yeah, no
room.
kidding.
I can't even imagine what he's going to use, but I'm excited to see that.
That's a second Brave Little field trip we have to go on.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way,
and Chicago's a
you're in
great city in
Chicago?
the spring and fall.
If you're in Chicago and you can't make it, or you're near Chicago, or you're just listening at home, maybe go on Yelp, find the Quandary Escape Room, and maybe write a nice little review. Give them
Write
a
a
few
review.
stars,
You know,
5 stars.
even if you haven't been there, trust us. It's amazing. If you have a business
Give 'em
owner
5
who's
stars.
making a escape room themed after 10 Things I Hate About You, starring Heath Ledger and a very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt and a peak Julia Stiles, he deserves a good review.
Julia's never been better.
Never been better. So please look up the Quandary and write a review. For goodness sakes, people,
And if you're
write
making
a
a
review.
movie, put Julia Stiles in it.
Yes,
Give her a
Julia
chance.
Stiles. She's
She's not
ever
even
since
40
she got
yet,
shot and
guys. Give
killed
her a
in
chance.
Jason Bourne.
Well, we need
She's
another
never got
Bourne
up
so they
from
can
it.
bring her back.
That's true. Yeah.
She didn't really.
Exactly.
She's
Yeah,
looking
Bourne-
for work,
Bourne
guys.
Resurrection.
Give her a job, please.
Okay, guys, we've been marathon potting and we are getting loony.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
time to wrap this up. Skylar's already said 5 things that he wishes he could take back. So,
You know what? I'm just gonna say
but-
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Skylar actually has a personal philosophy similar to Dave Chappelle, which is he refuses to ever feel bad about anything he says.
Never felt.
That's a direct quote from his last stand-up special, which admittedly wasn't his best work. Okay, guys, thanks so much for taking the time. This has been a blast. I'm so glad that, you guys have as good a list as you do, and the diversity of the list is exciting. This is awesome. So, and thanks for making no egregious errors other than leaving Star Wars off your lists. Guys, do you want to say hold on to your butts at the end, or do you just want to say bye? Leave it
I
up
mean,
to
it
you
is
guys.
tradition.
We already
I feel like I'm a
said it,
dad.
but-
Now. I'm like a dad who's like forcing their kids to say nightly prayers or something. Yeah, I'm gonna run with that analogy.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So,
Let's say our prayer then.
because
Amen.
I do this, I do this, and you guys refuse to say it in unison, or you say something else, you don't say it at all, and you say it begrudgingly, and I just feel bad. I feel bad. So it's up to you. We do it or we don't.
Count it down.
Let's
Let's
do
see.
it.
Let's see how it goes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hold on to your
Hold on
butts.
to your butts. Okay.
Perfect.
I think David was the one that was off that
Mhm.
time.
Peace.
So-
You blew it.
Jokes
Bye,
on you.
Facebook. Bye bye.
See ya.